You will pay dearly for this!
Nobody will believe you, silly!
The rain doesn't just fall in Millfield, it punishes. Through the blurred windshield, Elena Vance watches the predator approach. Chief Silas Thorne stands like a monument to corruption, his flashlight cutting through the deluge to find her face. Elena, a public defender whose record is as clean as Thorne's soul is dark, doesn't blink. She's been documenting this man's empire for 6 months, and tonight, the collision is inevitable. "Step out, counselor," Thorne commands, his voice a gravelly purr. He claims a broken taillight, a lie Elena knows for a fact, but the script is already written. Behind him, Officer Miller is already circling her trunk, his hand twitching near his pocket. Elena feels the trap snapping shut. Her father, a detective broken by Thorne's lies years ago, died with his name in the dirt. She won't let history repeat itself. Have you ever felt the crushing weight of a system designed to fail you? As Miller discovers 3 kilos of white powder, Thorne's performative disappointment is sickening. "A shame," he whispers, leaning close enough for her to smell the rain on his coat. "Your father chose the easy way out. Smart man." The cold bite of steel snaps around Elena's wrists. As Miller shoves her into the cruiser, the bruise forming on her shoulder is nothing compared to the ice in her veins. She watches through the rain-streaked glass as Thorne makes a triumphant phone call. By dawn, her face is plastered across every screen in Millfield, the corrupt lawyer caught with a fortune in narcotics. Inside the county jail, the dehumanization begins. Swapping her suit for an orange jumpsuit, Elena finds herself sharing a cell with Tasha Williams, a former nurse whose life was also dismantled by Thorne's routine stops. Tasha reveals the terrifying scope of the operation. Thorne isn't just planting evidence, he's running a massive distribution network using police authority as a shield. What would you do if the person sworn to protect you was the one selling the poison? Elena's mind races. Thorne thinks he wiped her laptop, but he's forgotten her father's old lessons. She has backups, but they are out of reach while she's behind bars. Suddenly, a new face appears at visitation. Officer James Foster. He claims to be an undercover internal affairs mole from Chicago. Elena stares at him through the glass, weighing his words against the danger. Is he a lifeline or the final nail in her coffin? The plot is thickening. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the trial. The air in courtroom 3 is stagnant, heavy with the scent of old wood and impending injustice. Elena sits shackled, the metal clicking against the floor as Judge Grant enters. Grant, a man whose golf handicap is as well known as his loyalty to Chief Thorne, barely looks at her. Elena's court-appointed lawyer, Price, looks like a man drowning in shallow water. The prosecution paints a picture of a fallen hero, a lawyer using her status to move $150,000 worth of cocaine. When Price suggests the evidence was planted, Grant's laughter is a dry, jagged sound. Serious allegations against decorated officers require serious evidence, he sneers, denying the request to examine Elena's seized devices. Bail is set at a staggering $1 million, a death sentence for her freedom. Have you ever witnessed someone in power use the law like a weapon against the innocent? As she's led away, Elena catches the eye of her sister, Maya. A silent signal passes between them. The contingency plan is live. While Thorne thinks he's won, Maya is already slipping into Elena's office, bypassing wipe drives and dodging Thorne's henchmen. She retrieves their father's old tackle box, finding the USB drive that started it all. The hunt for the truth has moved from the courtroom to the shadows. Thorne thinks he's untouchable. Do you think Elena's sister can find the proof in time? Drop a comment below. The hunt leads Maya to a weathered cabin in the woods, her father's final sanctuary. Alongside an ex-FBI accountant and a tech specialist, she deciphers the encrypted files. The trail points to Clearwater Holdings, a front for Thorne's real business. Through a hacked security feed, they watch Unit 17 at the old riverfront. At 2:17 a.m., Thorne himself arrives, not to inspect evidence, but to distribute envelopes of cash. What would you do if you realized the entire justice system in your town was a criminal enterprise? Back in the cell block, the walls are closing in on Elena. Detective Harris, a veteran whose conscience is finally fraying, slips her a note. Thorne has informants everywhere, and she is scheduled to be moved to a state prison at dawn, a place where accidents happen to pesky lawyers. Elena knows the clock is ticking toward a fatal end. Her only hope lies in a vintage watch she wore during her arrest. A watch Thorne's men inventoried without realizing it holds a micro SD card filled with 6 months of Thorne's dirty secrets. The walls are closing in. If you want to see Elena win this fight, like this video and subscribe to see the finale. The Riverfront warehouse was a cathedral of greed. Inside Unit 17, Chief Silas Thorne stood over an open crate, his face illuminated by the sickly yellow glow of the hanging lights. He wasn't just supervising, he was gloating, running his hands through a shipment of pure cocaine worth $5 million. To a new era, he toasted, raising a glass of expensive scotch toward his loyalists. He felt invincible, until the skylights shattered. Have you ever watched a bully finally realize they've run out of places to hide? While Thorne was counting his blood money, Maya had been miles away at the FBI field office in Chicago. She hadn't just sent an email. She had walked through the front doors at 3 a.m. with her father's tackle box and the micro SD card from Elena's watch. The evidence was undeniable. Audio of Thorne admitting to the frame job and decades of offshore bank statements. Flashbangs turned the warehouse into a blinding white void. Thorne scrambled for his sidearm, but a red laser dot settled squarely on his chest. "Drop it, Silas!" Foster's voice boomed over the megaphone. Thorne was tackled into the very crates of poison he'd used to destroy the Vance family. The look of pure, impotent rage on his face as he was dragged through the mud in front of the press cameras was the first real justice Millfield had seen in a decade. Thorne didn't just lose his badge, he lost everything. If you love seeing a villain get what they deserve, hit that like button right now. Thorne was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole in a maximum security federal facility, the kind of place where an ex-cop with a history of framing inmates doesn't last long. Elena stood on the courthouse steps, her father's badge in her hand, watching as they hauled Thorne away in a transport van. The king of Millfield was now just another number in the system he had spent his life corrupting. From the other side of silence, Toss Stories, where real voices rise and truth finds its echo. Like, subscribe, and share this story, because silence is exactly what corruption counts on.